Hey!
Welcome to Demasked. My name is Frezzman, and today I'm joined by the actual DasBoSchitt. For those who don't know, I recently about 2 months ago, did a interview with somebody who I thought was DasBoSchitt for roughly 40 minutes or so. But somebody brought it to my attention that not only does it not sound like DasBoSchitt, but he completely dodged every question that I asked. So today I'm finally joined by the actual DasBoSchitt. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. You can check the audio this time.
Yeah, we we can double check.
Yes.
I I don't know how I didn't notice this
Me
last
neither.
time.
But mistakes were made, I suppose, and we can't just hindsight it all the way.
Well, part of me, like, I've been toying with the idea of deleting that video, but I'm like, I kind of want to leave it up there as like a reminder.
You just put a disclaimer at the beginning. Nah, this is fucking fake as shit. I know you don't need to comment anymore.
I know. But luckily, I've had time to write down an outline for questions I think you'll be able to answer better than he did.
Yeah, and I figure you could and if you any of them you had before, you can probably just repeat. I didn't listen beyond like the first 45 seconds of it before I just kind of got the gist.
Well, I usually, like, a lot of this is just a base outline, and then a lot of it's on the fly, luckily.
Yeah.
But actually, I did have a quick question for you. So, what started the Idiot Box series? Like, what was the genesis of that idea?
It was because of the Idiots of Garry's mod from DJY 1991. You remember that?
I do remember that. I actually go back and watch that again
Yeah.
every once in a while.
Yeah, it was the Idiots of Garry's mod. That's where it started, and then I went to go look for other content, and there was so few to choose from at the time. At least any that like I found to be of funny standards and everything. I think there was like all of 3 whole series. There was the one from DJY 1991, the Idiots of Garry's mod, and there was one by Fancy Pants who did his like little puppetry contraptions and shit. There was another one. Shit, I don't remember his name. That bugs me right now because he was also an inspiration, but the name kind of escapes me right now. But and so I decided, I had already played a whole lot of Garry's mod, goofing around, all that shit, with friends, with servers, with trolls. It was very strange, but because I knew how to do all this, contraption stuff and messing with the camera and everything, I figured, well, why don't I take a shot at it? So, I went ahead and I got Vegas for $50 at the time. It was only $50 for like a really bare version of Vegas 9, I believe it was, and I went from there, and I kind of learned how to edit in Vegas and everything from there, and then I made my own little series. And then I originally wanted to name it like GMod TV, but the name was already taken. So but then I remembered that TV, the term Idiot Box, is another form of TV. So there you go, GMod Idiot Box.
So well, I mean, for those who don't know, the kind of stuff that you made, Mr. Shit.
Mr. Shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put that on my tux.
But it's sort of a subsection of video game related videos called Machinima.
Yeah.
And I mean, not only tied to the channel with the same name, but it was also its own sort of subgenre.
Yeah, I think the name of the channel had come from the original word itself, and then they tapered off into their own thing later. But that's so I don't think Machinima.com claimed the word. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they just got their name from the word that already existed.
Mm-hmm. And well, I mean, like, did you see what happened recently with that channel?
Yeah, they went down recently.
Oh yeah, like, what even happened? Because to me, I only just saw it just kind of vanish.
They were hemorrhaging. Over the years, they were really hemorrhaging. Because originally the whole draw of their channel was, Machinimas and everything. But then when Machinimas fell off and everybody started making gaming content, they started trying to, host that for a while, and then I guess they were just mismanaged, and a whole lot of employees started leaving one after the other. They kept losing sponsors because they just
Well,
they couldn't keep the views in. Their structure was really bad from beginning to end, and it just kind of gradually fell apart until it all. I think what did they like? What they die last year, 2018?
I if I remember a couple months ago.
Well, I know it wasn't this year, so yeah, must have been 2018.
Yeah, it must have been like December.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird seeing that because it seemed like it immediately, like the decline started to spike, like free fall right after the original Inside Gaming team left.
Hmm.
Like Adam Kovic, Bruce Green, Funhouse
Right.
now. But it seems like right after they left, it's just like,
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like it seemed sudden for a lot of people because like they knew of Machinima.com, but they never really visited it. And then Machinima didn't really say like, okay, we're on our way out. It's been fun, you guys, but in another month we won't be here. They just shut the door and then they were gone.
mm-hmm.
So it kind of took a lot of people by surprise there.
Well, I heard a bit of good news from it that somebody was able to salvage some of almost all of the Inside Gaming videos on a hard drive and like snuck it out of there.
Oh wow.
And so I believe there's like a tertiary channel for Funhouse that is just a re-upload of all of the Inside Gaming content.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
I haven't really watched the show itself, but it always sucks to see content just plain go. So if it can be salvaged, shit, stuff to continue watching over the years.
Well, like even what was the was it ETC, the guys who did that, they one of the tweets from them, I think it was Ricky, said yeah, it's just like 3-4 years of work just gone.
Yep, that's what happens.
Yep. So with your channel, you a lot of like I believe Ross Scott also does some Garry's Mod content.
No, he never has. He like a lot of the civil protection stuff that was used with Source Face Poser. He never touched Garry's Mod.
Oh, okay. Well, I always assumed that was. You know what? That actually makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. But so for Garry's Mod, well, there's kind of two different outlets that I've seen, at least from your content. Source Filmmaker and Garry's Mod. Which one would you say you prefer?
Well, definitely Garry's Mod because of like all the weird shit you can do. I mean, like Source Filmmaker makes everything look really slick, but I think in doing that, you kind of I don't know. There's a certain stiff factor about Source Filmmaker. I do plan to like sort of get back into it at an eventual time. But what's happening right now is Garry's Mod, like as old as it is, still manages to come up with mods. People are still a part of the community. People are still playing Garry's Mod. So like there's still plenty of people that are putting models into the game and making some crazy tools. The one of my favorite things to do in Garry's Mod is use the advanced what is it it's like an advanced tool that allows you to like stretch and skew props, like stretch them out and make them squish and shit. I can't do that in Source Filmmaker as far as I know. Yeah, the advanced bone tool, that's it. As far as I know, you can't do that in Source Filmmaker. I mean, I know you can stretch limbs, but like you got like boxes, you can't like, as far as I know, squish them and stretch them. Then again, you probably can at least by now. But at the time that I was, kind of dabbling into it, you couldn't. So it's like, well, that's one appeal already gone. I loved being able to, squish things and stretch things around as part of like, fast movement. And that's always kind of like been a nice appeal to Garry's Mod. Also, I just, know how to use it. It's, I think it's easier to set scenes up in Garry's Mod with a gravity gun and, move things there. And if you want to have a car fly through a fruit stand, you literally drive a car through a fruit stand rather than, drag a car into a fruit stand and then animate each individual fruit until you want to kill yourself. So,
well, I even like the idea of being able to just walk around a scene.
Yeah, it's a good way to concentrate and kind of think of ideas too. Is just wander around and like do parkour around the place while you're thinking of some ways to make a scene continue.
Well, like so the more I think about it, the more it hurts that like when I thought that I added you on Steam, I mean years ago. I mean, Years
Wow, you were
back.
they were playing you like a damn fiddle for a long time, haven't they?
Exactly. And so I just like it. The more I think about it, I'm like, man, like I well the thing is like I was like so uh like your videos like the Idiot Box series were kind of a big deal at my middle school and my high school.
Uh huh.
Like end of middle school, beginning of high school. And so like when one of the fake yous added me on Steam, I'm like, oh shit.
Oh damn.
Now I'm one of the cool kids, but nope, still one of the weird kids. But I like one of the main complaints that I heard from not only people in your comment section, but people that I went to school with was like, man, it takes so long to make videos, and I like I got it. Like I'm just like he's probably busy, he's doing stuff, and like I just I didn't hold it against you. So I actually had a quick question about this. So I believe in the video from a while ago, you said you work, I believe, as an editor.
Yeah.
So is that what you're doing? Currently?
Yeah, I'm an editor. I work from home right now.
Okay. I was gonna say, is that why you're not uploading videos?
Well, it's like I said in my announcement video. That's a very very big part of it right now. It's because I work from home. I am an editor, and I still use Vegas, and I'm well, I'll just kind of elaborate on that in a little while. But yeah, I still use the tools that I was using in Garry's Mod and everything. So when I'm done with work, like a lot of the times, the last place I want to be is A, in front of my computer, or B, in front of the editor again. When I'm done. It's like I said in the announcement video. There was a time when I was actually attempting that. I made 3 animations for Team 4-Star during the Cell Saga. And so I was going from animating a thing on Team 4-Star's behalf and then going back and doing my regular day job. And it drove me like fucking insane. Like I was just losing it on just getting mad at like some simple things because I was so cooped up in the house. And yeah, it was really stressful. Not to say that it was stressful because oh, my job sucks, or just working for Team 4-Star is insufferable or anything like that. No, I love the guys at TFS and I really do enjoy my job. It's just that when you sit in the same place for so freaking long and then you're done with work, you don't want to stay there. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But
I was waiting to hear like, yeah, it was all right making that animation. Also, Team 4-Star sucks.
No. I can tell you right now, they're just fine. They are just fine. Good, upstanding folks.
They're pretty okay.
They're pretty okay. They have my thumbs up. Good folks.
So you, yeah, I would say you work on not only projects for yourself, not only on your channel, but you do some work on the side for like Team 4-Star, like you mentioned, for the Cell Saga. Do you have you already worked on, or do you have a dream Machinima project that you'd want to work on?
Ooh, not really, not yet. I'm not like Ross, where he's ready to make a whole movie or anything, which that takes some stones. But hey, more power to him. I hope he gets it done sometime. But I currently kind of don't right now because I'm just still kind of focusing on work right now. I do actually want to finally get started on another Idiot Box project pretty soon. I had announced on Twitter. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I don't blame you because I don't post there. But I finally did at one point a couple weeks ago post up on Twitter to break the silence a bit, and I said that I'm definitely going to try and make another Idiot Box episode and do it by way of learning Adobe Premiere and After Effects. So I figured like if I use those two tools while I'm doing this project, I can like learn those tools, which I've been meaning to do for longer than I can remember. But if I make it a learning process, that should keep that stir craziness I was talking about at bay. Right now, I'm just kind of gathering resources for the project because nowadays everybody's kind of seen it all before, and so you can't just go into GM Construct and make like G-Man fuck around with Kleiner anymore. It's got to be something different now. So a lot of that involves, gathering new resources either from the mod shop or having like somebody hired to maybe extract a model and put in its face rig and everything. So right now it's just kind of a collection process while I kind of get the resources that I know for sure that I'm going to need ahead of time, and then like while I'm in the middle of the project, just get more later. But right now I'm just kind of collecting what I know I need and then just kind of going from there. And then hopefully I won't go nuts trying to figure After Effects out. I'm pretty confident I'll figure Premiere out. A lot of people had said like, if you already do Vegas, then it should be a cinch. And so it's like, okay, well, I believe him.
Have you considered doing like a new YouTube avenue?
That's going to be a yeah, I mean, I kind of had an idea for like where the series was going to go. Oh shit, my monitor almost shut off. Come back. There we go. I knew where to go from there. I just I think before I can start committing to making like an ongoing series again, I have to be sure that that this Idiot Box video that I'm going to make next doesn't like drive me nuts. So I got to figure the process out next. So I don't really want to promise nothing, but I definitely do want to promise that I'm working on the next Idiot Box using the new tools. See how that goes.
It's good to hear.
Yeah.
What would you say would be your favorite Idiot Box episode to work on so far, or at least your favorite video?
I had a lot of great ideas with episode 7, honestly. Those were some of my favorite ideas that I came up with back in the days of 7. And that was a good one.
Well, how long does it usually take to make an Idiot Box episode?
Oh, like 200 plus hours. It's like, yeah, it gets a little nuts. It's a very accumulative process, especially if you're doing like, if you're not doing the shortcuts of throwing ragdolls around anymore. Now you're using stop motion helper and making sure everything looks nice and fluid like it's in source Filmmaker, but it's not. You know what I mean? Getting all those resources, having them break on you, having somebody fix it, having it break again, have them fix it again. It's, but
it's fine.
It's fine. It's all good. But it's like when I try to make the duration like 8 minutes and like have the quality like crank up while still maintaining that length, it definitely takes a while, especially in a skit-based show like Idiot Box, where different scenes and characters and models and settings are used like every minute or two. And it's all like, change everything. Next scene, And it's like, gotta set that one up. Gotta get the resources for that one. So it's a task. Idiot Box is easily the one that takes the most time to do because of how it's structured. But I would say that it is like, it's still entertaining. As much as time it takes, it's still entertaining to do because like, they're just some goofy shit ideas that I've had while I was just dicking around with work or playing a game or just doing daily things. And I could just throw those ideas against the wall and make sure they're structured okay so they don't, run and become gross on the wall. So, I don't know. The metaphor kind of fell apart there.
Well, I tried, I've tried to get the motivation to make Machinima. And I looked to your tutorials, the Know Your Shit tutorials.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop motion, like that's actually a really interesting concept. And I'm like, I don't know if I have the time.
And then you try it, like, why does everything look like shit? Fuck this.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, the thing is, like, I wish I worked from home. I really do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some say they do, and then they do, and then they realize it kind of like it's like lonely or frustrating. Oh, I'm in the same house again. Well, time to go from bed to computer. Here we go.
Well, well, I mean, I do that already on my days off. I usually spend a lot of my time, trying to get a hold of people for interviews such as this. And setting up stuff, trying to learn new techniques, but I'd rather work from home. It beats getting up at 5 a.m. and trying to get to the bus.
Sure, sure. But you've got the
But
trade-off. Like I said, there's the whole stir crazy factor. Because
mm,
when I had my regular job, as much as my day job, as a security dude, like sucked so much shit.
mm,
I still like when I got back home, there wasn't like this. Oh, now I got to go from one work to another. It was all like I was sitting there at work, like I couldn't wait to get home, sit down, and like make something. So it wasn't like that. But now it's all like I'm done with work. I'm not excited to do the other thing because oops, still here, same fucking
yep.
spot. So
Well, that's how I am in my job. A lot of it's just standing at a desk. I won't specify where because that kind of gives away where I am.
no, given the
But
social climate, yeah, definitely.
yeah, and but a lot of it's standing at a desk. But it's like 10-hour shifts, and a lot of the times, like I have a notepad at my desk, and I wish I had one with me at work,
Hmm.
so I could just like, oh, that's a great idea, and write that down. And usually, if I'm on the way to work or on the way back from work, I'm like emailing people, which like nobody answers my emails, or tweeting at people. Well,
Yeah.
there
Well,
there
just
have
use your
been
phone.
times.
You don't need a notepad. Just use your phone. There's a notepad app. They got an app for that.
Well, I mean, I would, but I can't have my phone at my work.
What do they do? Stuff in a safe or some shit?
I have like my own locker. I gotta put it
Ah,
in.
yes. Ah, yes.
It's a security issue, and I don't care enough to start taking pictures of things.
Right.
But like God, I gotta start bringing them with me to work again. But I have these tiny notebooks that I bought that I want to start like packing with me because they're like 1 inch tall
Hmm.
notebooks. And but no, a lot of the times nobody answers my emails, or
Right.
if they do, it's almost like a completely automated message.
Oh.
Well, like I tried to contact what's his name, Steve Blum,
Oh yeah. The guy who gets
and
like every voice gig ever.
yeah, and I'm like that'd be fun to talk to him, and then I email him, and like an hour later, I get an email back from his like agent. Like, hey, he's super busy right now. And I almost wanted to specify it in a follow up email. I'm like, it's not like I'm asking him to come to my house. It's Skype.
Well, hey, sometimes like 40 minutes is a lot to somebody who's got as many gigs as that guy does. I mean, he's probably
Oh
got
yeah.
he's probably got like con appearances to go to. He's got like
Mm-hmm.
he's got like 5 different animes to voice for in a single day. It's like I can understand it.
Five different characters in one anime each.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Ugh.
And they all do the Spike Spiegel voice. It's great.
All of them.
All of them Spike Spiegel. Not to knock on Bloom, I mean I know a lot of people like they he does the same fucking voice. But he's a very talented motherfucker. I would love to get
But he's
something
really
signed
good
by
at
him.
it.
No, he's great. The other voice actor who gets like tons of roles is Jennifer Hale. She's great. I actually got
Or Troy
to
Baker.
hmm
Or Troy Baker.
yeah, Troy Baker. You can't forget who the guy who did Nathan Drake.
Nolan North.
Yeah, Nolan North. That guy too. He gets everything.
Well, oh god. Speaking of voice actors, I found out this thing recently. The voice actor who played Harry Mason in the original Silent Hill,
Hmm.
he also played Dracula in Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
Well, see, I never played the Castlevania Symphony of the Night, but like, shit. Now I need to listen to that.
Well, I mean,
That's
I mean,
funny.
I'm pretty sure everybody has heard that whole speech.
Oh
where
sure.
they
What
go,
is a man?
miserable pile of secrets?
But
Which
enough
is
talk.
just-
Have at you.
Like it's such a miserable.
It's a
pile of
stark
secrets.
contrast.
Yeah, it compare that to what's this? A fire extinguisher.
Yeah. Have
But
you
he's like
seen my daughter? A miserable pile of daughter?
What is this monster? A miserable pile of secrets?
What is a city?
Great. Now I want a Silent Hill game where Dracula's like brought into Silent Hill. Like
I got a
Yes.
letter. The name on the envelope said Mary, my wife's name. Couldn't possibly be true. A dead person can't write a letter. I'm sorry, I'll stop now.
like he he runs into Eddie and it's just like Richter.
Richter's like this fat pizza eating bastard.
But he's still got like the headband and like the tunic on.
And then
I've
when
come
he
to slay
fucking
you, you monster.
then when it's time to fight him, he just throws projectiles at you.
He just throws the crosses that boomerang back.
Yeah. He spams it like in Smash Ultimate.
Oh yeah, I was watching a tournament of that. My roommate has been doing just like CPU tournaments to see who wins out,
Mhm.
and it got so close because I wanted to see Simon versus Richter
Mhm.
because it was like was it the max level difficulties,
Ah.
and then Simon got beat out by Kirby at the last second.
The low tier character.
I'm like, I'm like, great. Now it's gonna be a vampire killer versus pink fluffball.
Yep.
Great, nice,
Perfect. I love it.
great. So, what do you do for sorry for trying to jump back onto the tracks.
There's only so much time in a day.
Oh, that's all right. Like I usually try to say in whenever I send an email to somebody, the length of this interview can be on your preference because I usually try to set like an entire day aside.
Mm-hmm.
So like it can be as long as you want. It can be half hour, 40 minutes, 2 hours. Like the most recent one I did with Jason Takes Omegle is probably the longest one I've ever done at 2 hours 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because we just like got off the rails and started talking shop about masks and all this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's totally on. It's dependent on you if you want to, wrap it up whenever. It's good. It's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, no worries. We haven't hit 40 yet, so shoot.
Yeah. So what do you do in your off time whenever you're not editing videos or not uploading to YouTube?
I'm trying to like get a little back in shape now that I live in Florida, and there's no more rain to have to constantly contend with during like all seasons. So go to the park, do a little bit of jogging, try to do a little bit of working out. I'm not a big old gym rat or anything like that, and I still have my poor habits because of all the sitting around I do at home. But I still love games. I don't really play a hell of a lot of those live service type games. No thanks. But if there's like a nice story driven game every now and again, like the Resident Evil 2 remake came out recently, oh, that was great.
Mm-hmm.
Sekiro, I beat that a few weeks ago. That was all right.
How is it? Because I haven't really seen anything on it, or at least I should say I've been avoiding anything on it.
I mean, it's they did well what they looked to do. You definitely have to keep your expectations in check. This is not just Dark Souls. You're gonna have like familiar elements. You got the bonfires, you got the lock-on system, you've got the Estus flask. I'm sorry, the gourd, and you got those. But the combat system is entirely different. You can't just mash B to dodge everything. You got to jump. You got to block. You got to deflect. You gotta pay a lot more attention. The thing that kind of puts a lot of people off is the fact that there's no armor and no weapons. You get one weapon and you don't change your armor at all. The only thing you change is your prosthetic hand, which is a big selling point of the game, and that like has many different attachments. So it fits a certain play style. But if you're looking to see people's runs and how they play the game, you're not going to see a lot of variability in that sense. You're not going to see somebody go someplace vastly different first You're not going to see differing builds of magic and like heavy attacks or light
A
attacks,
faith
dexterity, faith builds, exactly. Pyromancer builds. You're not going to see a lot. You're not going to see a lot of different builds. The only thing you're going to see is how yeah, none of that. But the only variability you're going to see in other people's playthroughs and other people's experience is how many times a boss murdered the shit out of them. Because this is a hard goddamn game. Like, no doubt about it. It's like they demand a lot out of you in terms of this combat system. And it starts out, it's complex, but like, I think on, like, once it got later in the game, at first I liked the combat system a lot because of how complex it was, but then, like, I would say 3/4 of the way through the game, I kind of started to get really annoyed with it. I was good at it. I figured it all out. But it was, every encounter started to just kind of get tedious because just about every enemy in the game, like 95% of the enemies in the game, have like a very strong defense to them. And you can only, like, there are certain enemies that are strong enough to the point where just constantly deflecting only gets you so far because they get all their posture back really fast unless you damage their health, and good fucking luck doing that with their heavy guards. You gotta dodge around with certain attacks that they do and chop them in the back, you know, get their health low, and then their posture starts to recover less fast, and then you can deflect a whole lot. But it becomes a tedious process. It's annoying after a while, and I kind of, like, when I kind of stepped back and played this game and just kind of realized what I was doing, I was kind of playing it in a trance as opposed to all the other Souls games. Because
like, when you kind of worked yourself into a rhythm?
Yeah, it's like, it's very, you know, there's not a lot of level variability. There's like a forest, a snowy forest, and a different forest. Fucking great. You know, you've got the Japanese village with the high-rise roofs and stuff in a forest. And it's like, there's not a lot of really good level variability. The music is thematic to feudal Japan, and it is definitely not to my taste because none of the music I found memorable at all.
Sure.
But that's entirely subjective point, so, you know, whatever.
Would you say Sekiro, at least, I wouldn't, let's say maybe a base compliment, would you say it's at least a proof of concept for what they wanted?
Yeah. Well, they pulled off everything they wanted to do. They did a good job. Overall, it is a good game. It's just one of my more least favorite of the Soulsborne series. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Bloodborne because of the platform it's on. You know, locked to 30 frames per second. There's a delay in your inputs. Oh, yeah, great. But like the world and but the world and like the music is just so goddamn fascinating in Bloodborne because you play this game and it's like there are many instances in which I would cross into a new level, and it's like suddenly there's something weird happened. Spoiler alert for Bloodborne here, but at one point you step in, like, a horse carriage comes to get you, right?
Sure. A
horse carriage comes, you just step on in because, you know, why not? Fucking random horse carriage. Who doesn't step in those?
Even though it's been an enemy type at the last couple of Souls games.
I know. So you step on in the horse carriage and it takes you somewhere, and then you arrive at this place called Castle Canehurst. It's like, oh man, look at these big ol' crazy stairways in this big ol' magical dead abandoned castle and shit. You look behind you, the carriage is bashed to hell, and the horses are long dead on the ground, covered in snow. And the bridge is out. Like, wait, what the fuck just happened? What is this? How did I get here? And what is this place? Holy shit, let's do it. But I never had moments like that in Sekiro. It was all very, you know, all of the enemies were very humanoid. The vast majority of them are humanoid, and they, you know, have an intelligence to them, and it doesn't make
I heard the voice acting was fantastic.
It's good. I played it on the English, and a lot of people like, oh, you know, they wanted the authentic experience of playing into the Japanese, but the English voice acting is very good. It's very good. I'm glad I played on it.
Well, I saw a short clip where there's, I don't know the character's name, which is worse because he screams out his name, but it's a guy who rides out on a horse.
Yeah.
And like that alone, like I sold on any game where a voice actor is giving it his all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even games that aren't inherently that good, like Star Wars Force Unleashed 2, that game's not all that fantastic, right?
I never played it. Wouldn't know.
It's fine, but
It's fine.
there's a moment where the apprentice character played by Sam Witwer is like not like theater yelling into Vader's face, but I mean like screaming to the point where you can hear his vocal cords hurt.
That's the
I'll
ones.
kill you!
That's the
Just like,
ones
"Oh."
that get the job done.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh my god, he's so angry.
I don't watch a lot of anime, but like there's My Hero Academia that I've actually really enjoyed,
Yeah.
and the English like I watched that. I watched the dub. Sue me, fuck you. But yeah, I watched the goddamn dub. I think the dub is better. Eat me. So, but the the voice actors for the dub definitely give it their all. It's a great dub. I know that like many animes don't get the dub right at all, but this one really is great.
Oh, yeah.
Like the character for Bakugo. I don't know if you watched the show, have you?
I have. I'm up to middle of season 3.
Yeah. That the dude who plays Bakugo. Oh my god, that guy has to have like so much voice therapy every day just to withstand the amount of furious shouting this guy's got to do in just everyday things, and just to like regularly talk the way he does, even if it's not shouting. What do you want, you damn nerd? You know.
Goddamn nerd. Well, it's like what's his name? Sean Shamel, who I believe plays Goku. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, there's a moment. So there's a moment that I look up on YouTube every once in a while when I need an extra boost of motivation,
Mm-hmm.
and it's when Goku does, was it like times 10 Kaioken,
Oh yeah.
and he's screaming so hard, and it's such a cool moment, and I can't imagine like directly after that like he probably just had nothing.
Did you see the Broly movie?
I haven't yet, but I really want to.
Vic Mignogna, when he plays Broly, dude, it's like the last like 30 minutes is literally just him screaming constantly.
Oh, yeah.
And this poor dude's voice, the amount of dedication he's doing to all the shrieking that he's doing.
Well, usually what I find in when it comes to dub versus sub, from what I've seen, is like the Japanese voice actors are able to do a lot more in terms of range.
Yeah, I gotta
But,
wonder like what kind of shit that they do in order to keep their voices in check.
Yeah, but the Japanese version of All Might, that voice actor is amazing.
Oh yeah, he's very talented. But
And
I kind of like Christopher Sabat better.
yeah,
He fits
You
the
like
role so
Vegeta
much
better?
better. I'm sorry, he's so good at what he does.
Well, like I watch My Hero on I believe Hulu, and I don't think season 3 has the dub yet,
Mm-hmm.
and so I had to watch it in Japanese. And there's a amazing moment in part 3 where you just hear the voice actor go all out for
Mhm.
All Might, and there's only a few instances that I've seen where the Japanese version is inferior to the English version, and I think one of those instances is the Kaioken times 10 moment,
Mhm.
because the Japanese version, it's just kind of weak sounding.
Mm-hmm.
But then Sean Shamel, where it's like blowing out the microphone.
Yeah. I don't have I don't watch a lot of anime, so I'm easily like a peasant when it comes to the sub versus dub argument. I just like the dub because I can't really sit down and watch something. I have to be watching something while I'm doing something else. So and because I don't know Japanese, it's all like, well, there you go. I'll watch a dub even if it's bad. Unless it's like horrifyingly bad, I will still like watch the dub.
Like the Pokemon dubs. Here I have this jelly donut, and he's holding a rice ball.
Oh, No, I haven't watched Pokemon in a long ass time, but I know what you mean.
I haven't either. I'm a big fan of like fighting types of anime. I can't really do drama all that often. There have been a few exceptions, but those ones are incredibly sad.
Oh yeah, lots of screeching. How did we wind up talking about anime? Where were
You know
we?
what? I don't know. I think we were talking about video games, and then it jumped into voice.
Oh yeah,
no,
voice acting. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were talking about voice acting. I talked about Sekiro, and then I talked about like English versus Japanese, and now here we are. But yeah, Sekiro's English voice acting is very good. I liked it. I am glad I didn't miss it.
What would you say would be your current favorite video game?
Ooh, current favorite. Ooh, cause
asking the tough questions.
well, it's like I'm trying to base that around like, okay, we've got playtime, we've got how much I remember this game, and how much I wish I could wipe my memory of it just so I can experience it all over again, sort of thing.
How about a game that you like so much that you could very easily go back and play it again?
So God of War was one of them for the PS4.
Okay, yeah.
That was really good. I really did enjoy that, and I was actually kind of sad to see it end. Although, given like it smashed records, they'd have to be stupid not to make a sequel, especially with how they ended it. I won't say how it ended. I'm just saying like it's
don't worry.
totally gonna be a sequel.
I beat it myself, and there we go. Like the more I play that game, there's certain like I love that game. It's awesome, but there are certain parts that I felt didn't really make sense in a way. Not like to the point where it's like, oh, that's a plot hole, but it's like that's how that happened. Okay.
Well, what bummed me out was the lack of the bosses. That was like the big staple of the God of War series for a while, is their crazy bosses and how Kratos murders them. But
well, I kind of like how they cut back on the number of bosses, because when you do run into somebody, it's somebody who has a very personal bone to pick with you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, you murdered my brother, you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
But that, like,
but
one
they
of my
kept recycling
biggest...
the trolls. They kept doing the trolls. I was getting really annoyed by the number of times they had to keep fighting those stupid trolls.
Uh-huh. Well, like, one of the bigger questions I had, the minute they show you kind of the overworld map, and you can see, where Kratos lives, and, like, the lake, all that. And, like, when you see... When you're going through God of War, it's Kratos seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
The Bifrost, the World Serpent, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at this map, and I'm like, why does, like, this Forest Witch and the World Serpent and the creators of Thor's Hammer and the Bifrost are all within, like, a mile of his house?
He moved into a bad neighborhood.
Yeah, but I'm like, he was that close this whole time, and he doesn't even know the native language. And, like, that drove me up the wall, because it's very clear he's been there for, like, maybe 5 to 10 years.
Oh, he's been there long enough to, have and raise a kid, so...
Have a punk kid.
Yeah, a little punk kid.
At least at the beginning, a punk kid.
Right. But it was a really good experience overall. I really did enjoy it. I enjoyed it to the point where, like, there was this one part where you gotta, like, do a lot of farming for, like, gear and stuff, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be repetitive as shit. I don't want to do this, and then I did it all anyway. And I'm like, oh, what just happened? I just mastered this area. Shit.
I don't want to do it, but it's too fun not to.
Well, it's like, at first, I'm like, oh, this is farmy. This is going to take a while. I don't want to do this right now. And then that's exactly what I wind up doing. And I'm like, oh, well, crap, you got me.
Well, I even think, like, the scaling was done actually very well in terms of, like, enemy, like, the amount of enemies you have to fight and how tough they can be definitely scales to, like, how far you are into the game. Because by the end game, like, I think there's a point where you just face off against a room full of, like, the base enemies from the beginning of the game, and you just steamroll all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, I think... no, it's when you get, spoiler warning here for anybody listening at home. It's when you get the Blaze of Chaos.
Oh man, I was jumping in my seat, and I could pick those fucking things up. It's like, he picks them up, and I'm like, oh shit, do I get to use these? The camera slowly starts zooming out as enemies start to pop out of the ground. Like, yes!
Well, like the minute he's tying the chains back on, like, well, it's over now. The fight's over. There's no chance.
Everyone has lost now.
Yeah, it's like, it's officially done. The fact that I have both the axe and this.
Yep.
And I tried God of War once when it first came out. I didn't buy it when my roommate had it.
Mm-hmm.
But he was getting really annoyed because it has that photo mode.
Oh.
And I love photo mode in video games.
I didn't mess with that much. It's interesting though.
That the God of War version's fantastic because you can change the expressions on Atreus's and Kratos' face.
Oh.
But you can give him like big dumb like smiles or have him wink. And so, like, you're fighting the stranger outside your house, and you're getting, like, punched through your house, but then you can, like, freeze the cutscene, and I'm having Kratos, like, smile as he's getting, like, pushed through a rock. And, like, he's, like, snapping the stranger's neck, and he's like, yeah! and, like, every time I saw it in my room, it's like, dude, you gotta keep going. Stop,
Stop
man.
punching the fucking thing! Gotta keep doing the thing!
But I'm having fun. But then I played it for myself just recently, and boy, the fact that you can change their faces during cutscenes completely ruins any sort of moment. Like, there's an, like, I believe it's also on my Twitter, but there's an album of photos that I have on my PS4 that makes the entire journey look like the most pleasant road trip. Like, they're rowing the boat, like, yeah, and they're, like, hanging out in the Bifrost, having fun. Like that, again, spoiler warning, when Kratos goes into that beam and he has the hallucinations,
mm-hmm.
and he comes back out, it's been hours, and Atreus has had to defend himself.
Yeah.
And they're like, Atreus is like, how dare you leave me behind? It's like, where did you go? And then all this, and it's like this big, sad moment. But then I stop the moment when they're like at each other's like throats at arm's length, and they're both like happy and smiling. What's even weirder is when Atreus gets sick, you can still change his expression.
Yeah.
So he's all, like, gray and, like, dying, and Kratos is like, you need to help my boy, and, like, he's, like I freeze it, and Atreus is, like, all happy, and, like, laying down on the stone slab.
Kratos is smiling, I need to help my boy, this is gonna be so much fun.
Please, you need to help my boy. I will say, a lot of the game tries to not completely redeem Kratos for his actions, because there are things that Kratos cannot take back.
Yeah, but they made him a much more three-dimensional character than before.
He
was just a vessel of furious anger, just murdering everything in his path.
Well, the thing is, I believe knowing the things that Kratos has done previous kind of ruins certain moments, not all of them, luckily. And, like, there's the moment where they're in, was it Jotunheim? And, he takes off the wrappings. He's like, I have nothing left to hide. And I'm like, oh, what a tender moment. And then, like, in the back of my head, I'm like, he committed, like, genocide.
Oh, yeah.
He killed so many people.
Oh, yeah. He
like,
murdered all the gods, and that
like, Greece
killed
is
everyone.
fucking gone.
Greece is now gone. Just completely wiped off the map.
Yeah, he kick-started an apocalypse beyond measure and then moved to Norway. But no, he's the best dad. that throughout the whole game, it's like I'm thinking back to all the articles where it's like, oh, Kratos is such a good father. I'm like, he's a terrible person.
Like, he's got a long road to travel.
Yeah, like he's gonna have to like go back in time and stop himself from killing Zeus in order for him to be even remotely redeemed.
Yeah, maybe.
The fact that when they're in hell and you see like a younger Kratos beating the shit out of Zeus, and like, that's a little, it's a little rough.
You just imagine it's like it like remembers if you had played the game before and how long you sat there mashing circle into Zeus's face, and Atreus has to sit there and he's all like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, stop pressing circle.
It's just like an hour of like, it's like the moment from Sin City, just punching Yellow Bastard into the floor.
Yep.
What was it? After a while, I'm just punching the floorboards.
Oh man, you know what? Speaking of narrative, you know what other game that like really like truly stuck with me? This is gonna be a strange answer, but it was Detroit Become Human. I'm serious. I honest to God, I loved it. I loved it. It was like, you know, a lot of people are arguing like, oh, it's just a fucking movie. When it's like, well, I mean, you're interacting like every other second, and so it's like, you know, it's keeping you there, and the story is really good, and like I was on the edge of my goddamn seat for both playthroughs, trying to undo my shitty ending the first time, and then ending number 2 is much better.
So, do you watch the Super Best Friends play?
No.
So,
didn't they split up?
They did just recently, which sucks, but I can understand because it wasn't like drama. It was just they all just wanted to kind of work on their own things.
Yeah,
which is fine. But they covered every David Cage game, including Detroit. And the thing is, they've played like Omicron, The Nomad Soul, Heavy Rain, Indigo Prophecy, Beyond Two Souls, and what I like about them is they don't like David Cage because it's like, oh, it's cool to hate on him. It's like they're actively like, that doesn't make any fucking sense when something weird happens in one of the games. It's like that's a complete contradiction to what's supposed to be happening. What's going on?
Yeah.
And so by the time Detroit came out, they did a closed envelope thing, like a sealed envelope and they made a bingo card for things that they think will happen in Detroit.
Because they got like what it was like the David Cage bingo card, something that he keeps falling into certain tropes.
Yeah, and they like somebody there's a couple of channels out there that do compilation videos where they'll edit in things that are follow-ups to threads that they forget to cover. And it's pretty interesting. And they did one for Detroit where when something that matches something on that bingo card happens, they mark it off on the bingo card. And so like it shows the bingo card that they made. Like everybody got to make their own, but then they had like an official one that they picked.
Yeah.
And like the first playthrough, maybe 4 or 5 items out of like a 5 or 6 by 6 grid.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
And so they're like, oh, you know, it didn't fall into too many. But then they go and do a second playthrough where they take just the worst route possible.
They do all the asshole shit.
Yeah, like they make Connor like the Terminator.
They make Marcus like kill all humans.
Yeah, we're gonna lead this revolution in the snow against the humans. We're gonna wipe them out. And like they're doing all this, but it's filling out way more of the bingo card. And so by the end, almost all of the cards filled out. It's not like it's completely unfair. It's not like, oh, bad character, that's a space. It's like very specific things that have appeared in almost every other game. Like one character has a huge apartment or something like that. Or there's a shower scene, which every female character in a David Cage game has a shower scene for some reason. But the free space in the middle is is 3 words. One good scene.
One good scene.
Yeah. And, like, what they did is every time something is covered again, that spot gets darker and darker. And so, like, it's like, feel bad for slave robot, and it's like, oh, you do feel bad for these weird prostitute robots that tried to kill you, but then, like, they try to murder you and your partner, but when you shoot them, they're like, how dare you shoot us? How dare you?
How dare you? That was what happened, too, on my first playthrough. I shot her in the head, or not in the face, but, like, when she came at me, I shot her, and, yeah. Then, and then on the second playthrough, I didn't. It was very different. So it's like, that's the thing that I always kind of enjoyed about these types of games, the narrative games, is that people's playthroughs are very different in the end. They're like, certain characters do die early, other characters like make a terrible choice, and like they freak out, and then they stick with it. They don't go to the chapter select and try to undo it or anything like that. And in the end, it makes for very interesting differences in everybody's playthroughs. And I would say, if I were to be so bold, that Detroit Become Human is the best of its genre so far.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of the choice, like, there are a wide range of choices that you can do in different situations. And they do lead down different paths. But, what it doesn't seem... So, you know how it shows you the narrative path that you have taken throughout a certain level?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think that narrative path covers how characters feel about you. If that makes sense.
You mean in
it
terms of, like, whether or not, like, Alice trusts you more and more? Or?
Well, like, it's the idea of, like, I can't remember. It's, Clancy Brown's character.
Yeah.
Hank. Yeah. There we go.
Uh-huh.
There's a moment where, like, Hank is on your side for, I think the shooting the prostitute robot. It's like, alright, you did the right thing, they were coming after us.
No, he doesn't actually side with you on that.
Oh wait, no, it was, there's a moment where you can goad him into shooting Connor in the face.
Oh, yeah.
But then, like, the next scene, he treats Connor like he's the asshole, even though it's a completely new Connor.
Well...
like, it's the same consciousness, but, like, he's like, how dare you let me shoot you in the face?
No, I mean, I saw the scene after he shoots you in the face. Like, he was a little flippant about it. He doesn't get, like, mad about it. Like, if two things happen. One is, if that was the first time that he saw him die, then he'll get all, like, mad, like, yo, what the fuck? You come back now? What is this? It
has no
shit?
Consequence. Yeah.
Like, this is retarded, and of course, there's a reason that he gets mad about that later on in the game. Like, it's kind of revealed why he's mad at you coming back the first time. But if he's seen you die before and then he shoots you in the head again, then he's all like, he's just very dismissive about it. Like, Connor's like, I really wish you wouldn't shoot me in the face. And then Hank's all like, all right, fine, I won't shoot you again, okay? I promise.
Please don't shoot me in the face.
Yeah, I really
Mr.
wish you
Krabs,
wouldn't do that.
Please
Mr. Krabs, don't shoot me in the face. Very hurt.
At least characters not following through on how they feel about certain characters, at least it's not as bad as Kenny in the Walking Dead series.
What a mess, that guy.
Oh my god. There are moments where it's like, Lee just got done saving Kenny's entire family.
Yeah.
And then the minute something happens that is clearly Kenny's fault, it's like, God damn it, Lee!
Why'd you do that?
Why'd you let my son die even though he got bit, and it's almost exactly my kid's fault that he got bit?
Right.
In fact, Duck is directly responsible for the deaths of, like, 2 to 3 people. And, like, and so, okay, do you watch the Walking Dead TV show?
When it came up on Netflix, and I just needed something to watch while I was going through Photoshop all day.
Background music.
Yeah, it's great. That's usually the best time to catch up on some of these things. But I did watch it on Netflix. It was the one where Negan was a big central part of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, okay, so Do you care much about spoilers?
Not at this point. I mean,
Okay.
the show stopped being good a very long time ago. At this point, I'm just kind of seeing, where they're gonna go with it next.
One of the worst characters in the show, which is weird because they're one of the staple characters of the show, died in one of the recent episodes.
Which one was
And
that?
and I could not be happier that they're gone. Carl.
Oh, Carl, right? Yeah, Coral. Coral.
And the minute I started seeing stuff on Twitter where it's like, oh my god, it's so sad. I'm like, he is responsible for so many deaths and so many plans, for so many plans falling through that caused deaths.
Yeah.
And like the joke back in season 2 is like, Carl, stay at the house. Guess what? He's not in the fucking house. He's in the woods for some reason.
Inching his way closer and closer to within arm's reach of a zombie with a gun in his hand. So like, oh,
Yeah.
it's movie logic. I can't shoot you unless I'm able to touch you first.
Or there's that shtick where like every character has been around zombies for years at this point, and they still don't know what a zombie sounds like.
or
like you can
well,
hear,
that's the thing too.
You hear like in the distance, and like, what's that? Does anybody hear that?
Or like a lot of the times the zombies will just break the rules and they won't make any sound whatsoever, and then they're like, "Oh,
Teleport.
I was behind a tree. Rah, now I'm messy. Now I'm noisy." It's like, yeah, okay, all right, Ninja Zombo.
You can't hear me because I was off frame.
Yeah, but
Well,
no, I think like Detroit for the most part does keep consistent to character interactions because it is a turning point. Certain things can come to a certain turning point if you have made good enough friends with Hank, because like if like toward the end, if you have managed to gain his friendship and his trust and stuff, he will help you and buy you time to a certain area. And then other times, if you've done a terrible job, he shoots himself in the head. Spoiler alert.
Here's a fun question for you. So there's the deviant who went on a vaguely religious rampage and murdered his master, right?
Yeah.
And Connor finds him, and you can choose to take him in which he goes nuts and shoots Connor, right?
Yeah, that can be one thing that happens. If you scared the hell out of him, like you just abused him into his into like full stress, then if you try to stop him, he'll shoot Connor. But if you did a good job and was on his side for a while, he'll just bash his head into the table.
Well, but like, for whatever happens in the police precinct, he still gets taken into custody, right?
Unless you don't find him.
You know what I mean. Like he's like you find him and then he gets arrested.
Yeah,
correct.
Assuming you find him. Yeah.
So then there's the altercation in Marcus's storyline, where he didn't. So the other deviant stabbed his master to death like 15 times, right? But then Marcus just happened to be there when his master had a heart attack due to the stress of his son being like a drug addict, and it just dies in his arms. And then the drug addict goes, "Oh fuck, it was him," and then points at Marcus, and then Marcus gets shot in the face.
Yeah.
Like, but why?
Well, the cops, because what happens is once his dad. Well, the funny thing about that is you hear Marcus call him Dad as he's dying. He's like, "Oh shit,
Right, Dad.
How human!" But
I'm okay, Dad.
I'm okay, Dad. But when Carl's dying on the floor, the cops bust in, and the son says, It was the android." So he stuffs the blame onto Marcus, and the cops believe him and shoot him.
Yeah, but like, you think you, like, even Marcus wasn't even like, "I'm gonna fight you." Marcus was like, "Oh fuck," like with his hands up, like, "Oh shit, man." But then they're like, "Shoot him, throw him in the trash pile."
Well, yeah, they wouldn't have any reason. I mean, like, considering that they've been hearing about murders of, caused by deviants, like running away and getting loose. they're already on their toes because of all of these sudden rise in investigations of androids running away or hurting people. So it's like they have, like, the police have full reason to believe that android could have been responsible for that. You know, and they're just machines off of the loose. They're not people. Remember?
Yeah, but they took in the stabber.
Yeah,
the guy literally covered in blood.
Well, yeah, they needed answers out of him. They didn't need answers out of Marcus. No, they didn't need answers out of Marcus. He attacked somebody, and there's another living person in the room. You know, what if he turns and murders him? Cops are just going to stop him before he kills again, or so they think.
God, what was the other one? The kid, the Atlas.
The Atlas.
Alice, the little girl.
Right.
So how you find out near the middle to later game where you find out she's an android.
Mm-hmm.
She's a synthetic child to replace a real child.
Mm-hmm.
So that begs the question: why does that kid have homework? Why does it eat dinner? Because androids don't eat. How does it feel cold if androids don't feel cold? And then somebody, I think Pat from the Super Best Friends brought up, it's like the minute you see that android and you look back at Alice, not only is she missing the blue temple thing, it's like she's like running helplesschild.exe.
Yeah, that's her program. She is helplesschild.exe. And the thing of it is, they actually subtly explain why she doesn't have her LED. When you look at the pictures in the very beginning of the house, like when Kara's running around just kind of cleaning the place, she shows you her drawings, and one of the drawings involves Alice with a wound on the side of her head, which implies that she hurt her head and the LED popped off. Now, the LED thing does actually kind of bug me because it's all like, what manufacturer would design the android for the LED not only to pop out? Like, I believe them being able to pop it out in case they need to replace the thing, but why would they allow the android's skin
does it pop off
to go
like a sticker?
Well, no, it's like, again, I can believe that the LEDs need to be replaced, but what bothers me is why would a manufacturer allow their fake skin to go over it completely and perfectly? That bugged me. That definitely bugged me.
Also, they explained that the hair for androids is like a holographic projection, right?
Yeah, and then Kara cuts it. Like, excuse me?
So what ends up in the sink?
Yeah, exactly. And that bugged me too. The hair bugged me less than the LED though, because the hair didn't really play a big central focus to really anything. It was just a very strange piece of building, and I'm like,
Well, the thing is, the fact that you learn Alice is an android, like, the game directly asks you, do you feel any different about protecting this child now that you know she's not human?
Mm-hmm.
But then later on, you're like heading towards the government checkpoint, and she's like, Kara, I'm cold. And there's a moment where, like, I'm watching the Super Best Friends play it, and she goes, Kara, I'm cold. And they both look at her and go, no, you're not. Like, you're full of shit.
Well, when she says that, there is now an option to turn off her temperature sensor. And you can do that.
I'd rather just leave her in the snow.
Well, that's you. Well, then you actually had that choice in the game to just leave her.
I can just get a new one.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was a choice. You can turn her sensor off, or you can just completely leave her. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they do actually explain why she's cold, because she's literally helplesschild.exe. In fact, she's not even a deviant.
Yeah, that's okay. So it, like, she might even just be a slave to her programming at that function.
Mm-hmm.
Which contradicts what David Cage himself said in interviews leading up to Detroit.
What did he say?
It's not about slavery.
I have a hard time buying that, because
even though all of android fiction is a one-to-one metaphor for slavery, and I just learned recently, you know the lady on the main screen that you talked to?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Detroit experience. If you wait long enough, about midway through the game when she's starting to doubt her own motivations, if you wait just long enough, she'll start singing a slave song.
Yeah, that's
rough.
Yeah, I don't buy for 1 second that he was not trying to do a slavery theme there. Themes, like, I tend not to, like, get too hung up on themes, because I feel like they're just they're kind of a weak way to tell whether or not writing is good. Or, like, characters and settings and everything could be fucking terrible, but a lot of people will say, "Oh, but it fits a certain theme." It's like, just because you found a pattern doesn't suddenly mean the writing is good. Shut up. So it's all like, I didn't hang too much on the whole slavery theme, but he was absolutely trying to do the slavery theme, especially when you were Marcus going up onto the tower, and you announce your demands, and he mentions slaves. Like, we're not slaves anymore. We want our freedom. Like, that is totally a slavery theme. I'm sorry, Mr. Cage. You can't pull the wool over our eyes here.
Well, what was the, oh god, there's something that, like, one of the super best friends said where it's like, it's not about slavery, and then it literally cuts to the violent android uprising in the streets. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. And then you see androids in displays where it's like easy day for you, hard work for her.
Right.
It's like, but
he was totally doing so. He's a damn liar on that front.
He's a liar in most regards, but like, well, I think what makes Detroit one of the better games that he's made is I've heard the phrase he has a lot more people telling him no. Because Omicron the Nomad Soul is a nightmare. It is a fever dream, and that is unfiltered David Cage.
Unfiltered David Cage.
Yeah, nobody's telling him no. It's like, let's just let him run with it. And then, like, Indigo Prophecy comes around, they're like, let's not really regulate what he's doing. Sure, he can, make the main character fight giant ghost ticks and angels.
We'll meet him halfway. We'll only tell him to stop half of the time, and then all of a sudden a fucking DBZ bullshit shows up toward the other half. It's like, damn it.
Wait, telekinesis?
We have floating characters charging their laser now? I thought this was a murder mystery.
Yeah. And then, like, Heavy Rain comes around, it's like, what psychic link? Let's cut that out. But it's like, are we going to fill that plot hole? No, but let's cut that out.
I didn't see way too many plot holes for Heavy Rain. I think they were probably about the same level of plot holes for Detroit. But the acting and the choreography was still pretty bad in Heavy Rain. I'm glad that they really kicked it up in Detroit.
Well, like, the reason for Ethan's blackouts is because he was supposed to have a psychic connection with Scott Shelby, so whenever he starts to murder somebody, Ethan would black out and kind of be given clues psychically to where it's happening.
Oh my god, I would have put the fucking controller down if that were the case.
The thing is, they doubled down on that at the end game. They're like, because Scott Shelby's like, I was there from the very beginning, and it shows Scott Shelby literally watching Jason die. Keep in mind, how did Jason die? Because Jason's in the way of a car, right?
Right. No, I saw
and
that.
And then Ethan dives and grabs Jason, but Ethan's between the car and Jason, and the car doesn't even hit them?
I think the car was supposed to hit them. Because both of them get knocked unconscious. Like, Ethan goes into a coma and Sean dies. Or, Jason dies. And, so I think the car was supposed to hit him. Otherwise, the only thing to explain why Ethan got knocked out is because, I don't know, he's got no skull. So I think the car was supposed...
He has no bones.
Exactly. So I think the car was supposed to hit them, but it was shot so poorly that it looked like the car stopped short of them. So
curse my rubber skeleton.
Exactly. So my rubber skeleton, and I passed it on to my kid. We both have rubber skeletons. I'm just an adult, so I was able to live. Yeah, no, that car thing bugged everyone, and they have every right to be bugged by it.
I was watching a playthrough of Heavy Rain, and it's the funniest shit where they're just being so mean to Sean and Jason. It's like, Dad, do you want to play swords with me? He's like, sure, son. And it's like, you can let your kid win. And you're like, fuck that. And they're like parrying this kid.
Overpower a child.
Yeah, it's like, who would riposte a child? But but then you get to like Beyond Two Souls, which is a little bit more like relaxed. But the thing is, it still falls into like a narrative pattern that David Cage has kind of written himself into.
Well, the other thing too
Where
is there's like no choices in that one either. So
yeah, there's literally a moment where you are telling a character, it's the guy who loses his eye, the teenage dreamboat CIA dude.
see, I only ever saw one playthrough of that, and I didn't really play that one. When I heard that like there was practically no choices in it, I just didn't really have an interest.
There is a bizarre juxtaposition in that, where throughout the game up to a certain point, you can just at every opportunity tell the guy to go fuck himself. just just fuck you. You're terrible. You're an awful person. I hate you so much. And then there's a level almost immediately after going, I'm not like Jody, the main character, literally goes, I can't forgive you. You're an awful person. We're done. I'm not working for you anymore. And it literally cuts to her like, I'm so excited for my date with this guy. It's like, ooh.
Mega rails.
Yeah, and you can hear the people playing like, I can't believe they just did that. We've taken every opportunity. And, but they're, like, ooh. But then, like, Detroit, I believe, is the one where David Cage at least wrote an outline. That's androids.
It's androids. And they got psychic power. No. I'm going to stop you there.
Marcus is going to fight angels.
Well, if that's the case, if they if the staff was restraining him, then I'm glad it worked out. I mean, that's how we got Star Wars, right? Everybody loves Star Wars. Except,
George,
I mean, now they don't,
George,
considering that
George,
what Disney's doing.
George, you gotta slow down. You gotta slow down, please.
Well, the thing is, like, George was told no so many times, and then we wound up with what we got. It was really good, the OT. And then,
Did you hear about that one instance where George Lucas didn't understand like his own characters he helped create?
oh yeah.
There's a meeting that he was in where there's if I remember, there's a statue from one of the Knights of the Old Republic games. It's like one of the bosses. It's this like Twi'lek warrior Sith that has like the red and black patterns. It kind of looks like Darth Maul's race.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a statue of Darth Maul, and George Lucas walks over to those two, like, statues, and he goes, "See, look, they're friends. They'll work together. See, yeah." And then like, some of the writers go, "George, those events take place like centuries apart. Like, what are you talking about, George?" He's like, "But I mean, they could still work together." Like, no, it can't. No, George. I feel like I'd have a problem with that, just calling people George.
No, George. Stop it. Stop, George.
George, you're full of shit, George.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that they did what they did, because that game was phenomenal for what it was. I like narrative games as long as they're done well, and I think it was done well with some minor gripes here and there. So,
did you see the trailer for, was it Fallen Order?
Yeah, wasn't that, that's being done by Respawn, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, they're finally doing a single-player game, and EA's trying to pretend that they're being good guys by not poisoning it with microtransactions. It's like, you sit in the corner, shut the fuck up. You're not good people.
Congratulations on doing the bare minimum.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations on not kicking in our shins. You're so nice. So
you did it.
I haven't been that much of a Star Wars fan. Like, I can appreciate what it is and why people love it, but I've just never really got much into it. But hey, I mean, if the game is like looks fun, sure, fucking sure, of course I'll buy it.
Go for it.
So I guess we'll see what happens. Respawn's got a good reputation. We'll see.
I was super bitter when was it the first Battlefront came around and they had the was it the Death Star DLC?
Oh, I never played any of those. Yeah.
Well, if I remember, they had it's like a training mode where you can like test out some of the weapons even if you don't have the DLC.
Sure.
And they have a pistol. It's called the K-Bar pistol, and it's Kyle Katarn's pistol.
I don't know who that is.
Star Wars Dark Forces,
Nope.
Jedi Outcast.
Nope. Again,
Well,
like I said, I'm not a Star Wars fan. I just appreciate it.
Sorry. But he's one of like the coolest characters because he becomes a Jedi. Like he isn't even like Force sensitive, but there's this thing that's kind of written into the Star Wars universe called the Valley of the Jedi, where you walk through, and if you're worthy, you can gain Force sensitivity. And like what I like about Kyle Katarn is when you first see him in Dark Forces back on like the PS1 and PC, he's a dirtbag. He's a mercenary, and he's like, whatever, pay me. Like okay. Have you at least seen Rogue One?
No.
Well, like the main focus of that movie is we got to get the Death Star plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the main driving force behind the entire film. It's not a spoiler by any means.
Right.
But that movie takes place over like a week, and it takes like 50, 60 people in order to accomplish this one goal. Kyle Katarn gets that done in 10 minutes alone. Yeah, he wanders into a base and just steals the plans and gets out of there. It's the first mission of Dark Forces.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I think
if
the only Star Wars game I've ever played was I think it was a PlayStation game way back in the day. It was a first-person shooter. I don't killing.
Was it like Doom?
It was very Doom. Yeah. There was a sewer level and shit that I couldn't get through.
I think that might have been Dark Forces.
Is that what it was? Maybe. Oh shit. Maybe it was. I only borrowed the game from a friend. I never bought it, but
yeah,
I didn't have a lot of games. My friend did, so I just borrowed it from him. So I don't know.
Maybe. Well, they re-released it on Steam. It's actually a pretty good port.
Oh, okay.
It's very, very slick. But no, to try to get all this back on track, because somehow we went from Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice to Star Wars. From that to Detroit to Star Wars.
Yeah, because of how I was basically comparing David Cage to George Lucas. As long as people tell them no, we'll come up with some pretty good shit.
Yeah, if you give them less to work with, it'll actually give better results.
Yep.
The epitome of less is more.
Yeah, pretty much. Keep it subtle.
So, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you feel about somebody using your moniker on Steam?
Well, it kind of comes with the territory. Like, I would say, like, everybody who is just known on the internet is going to have somebody who's just going to impersonate you. And, like, some will go to greater lengths than others. It doesn't really bug me too much. The only thing that does bug me is when I'm trying to, register a screen name for something and it's taken. I'm like, God fucking damn it. So now I gotta put my name with an extra I in it. All right.
DasBoSchitt.
The real guy's got to use a fucking butchered name. Yeah. But yeah, that's really all there is. It's, I figure it's like, it's a phase. They'll get over it. It's not like, I got a big old brand name and they're stealing royalties or nothing. So it's like,
Well, I got a comment on one of the videos where it's just like, hey, this doesn't sound like him. I'm like, well, I don't know. And I go and check like one of the update videos. I'm like, oh shit.
That guy, he tried to pretend too. It's like, most people don't even get that far. As soon as they hear the mic, they'll be all like, oh shit. Well, my mic doesn't work. I dropped it off my balcony. So like you said, you said you live in an apartment without a balcony. So my friend's brother's balcony. I brought my mic there and I dropped it.
Don't you live on the ground floor?
You told me about him. He lives on the ground floor.
He lives in a different state. You don't know.
You know what? I'm actually on life support and I'm gonna die in 24 hours. I didn't mean. I forgot to tell you.
I'm breaking up. I gotta go.
Oh, gee whiz. Yep.
Gotta go. Gotta go. But did you want to keep this going, or did you want to wrap it up? Do you have anything else to do today?
I mean, it depends on how many questions you have. I figured, like, we went so far off topic, we probably haven't even got through half of them.
See, but that's the point. The metaphor for this show is constantly driving off of a cliff.
Oh, okay.
We're never on the rails here. But like that's the entire point of the show, because like I don't want to be like, so what do you do for why? But it's like, you know,
you just pull up the Google Doc. It's like, so what do you? It's like, so what kind of drama do you like getting into? You know, like, I don't understand why we got to talk about drama. I don't care to get into it. Okay, yeah. So I can't get off my Google Doc script here, so let's talk about drama. It's like, fucking.
I accidentally deleted my Google Doc. But no, like the entire point of this show is just I'm like the questions I put on this paper and like the stuff I've talked to you about are like, you know, stuff I actually want to talk to you about.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you know, any sort of like.
Bet you didn't think you were going to talk about a David Cage game and have somebody defend it.
Well, there was a moment that you're like, yeah, Detroit. I'm like, oh no.
Oh
no. Here's where it starts, isn't it? But no, I'm super happy. You know, you responded to my complaints.
Caught me on the the alleged plot holes.
Or well, not even that. The you know, following up with me on Twitter.
Oh yeah, you caught me while I was actually checking it. Congrats.
Hey, somebody's impersonating you. We gotta fix this, please. But I like the minute I added you on Steam, I won't go into, you know, bits and bobs there, but like the minute you sent the friend request, I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete everybody else also named DasBoSchitt on here.
Would you have like 3 of them or something?
I had that exact number. And like I was just staring at them like, son of a they got me good. And like what's worse is I'm pretty sure I played a game with one of them thinking it was you.
Oh yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'm playing a game with DasBoSchitt. It's amazing, awesome. And I'm like, oh, that dickhead.
What'd you play? You play Minecraft?
Rust.
Yeah, I don't play Rust.
I have to get rid of that. There's a photo I took, a screenshot I took where the guy I was playing with just like, hold on, I'll meet up with you. And he comes sprinting down a hill, and he's wearing like a leather jacket with a bucket on his head and no pants. And so I'm like, I have to take a picture of that. But
although to be honest, that does sound like something I would do.
But what games do you? Well, I mean, what games do you play regularly? I mean, probably Garry's Mod, but you know, you said you finished Secure recently and all that.
Yeah. I am really looking forward to The Last of Us 2. A lot of people say that game is overrated, but I really like it for the story, and you know, the combat's just, you know, fine. I know it's been done before, but they did it fine, so I'm not too bugged by it. I can't wait to see what happens in the sequel.
Well, like some of the choices made in that, I don't think I've seen really anywhere else in terms of like just horrible choices made without much thought.
Well, considering the world, yeah, you kind of got it to survive.
Well, no, like if you were to take those certain situations and put them into a different context, you would at least like pause to think, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's Joel, who's been in this like nightmare for so long that like he just guns down somebody who could save the like human race.
No, he
just come after him.
That's what you got to do to survive in the world. Considering like You know, you got that guy standing in the road. He's like, "Oh, somebody help me!" And then Joel already knows he's full of shit.
Yeah.
So he knows his way around things. I think he's got enough. He's got enough street smarts in him to know when people are just not going to serve his purpose. Didn't want to get too far off topic into The Last of Us, but yeah, that's something else I'm looking forward to. That Death Stranding game is so surrounded in mystery that I'm really looking forward to seeing what the hell that even is.
Whenever I hear news about that, like I follow Kojima on Twitter, and every time he posts like a photo of like his desk, I'm like, just tell me when, please tell me when.
Yeah, just I want to know whether or not this is a fucking video game, dude.
Just give me a day, like so I can put the money aside, please.
Yeah, definitely looking into that. But if in terms of like something I'm playing now, there's a game that came out recently called World War Z. It's basically looks like Left 4 Dead, but with like a progression system. And I mean, when I say Left 4 Dead, I'm saying like they copied the goddamn thing. Like there's a charger, there's a hunter, there appears to be a boomer. It's all like, and I'm not even kidding. The charger slams you in the ground, and the hunter pounces you. Like, wow, your inspiration's on your goddamn sleeve, guys. But to be honest, like the game looks really interesting. Like the zombies can climb on top of each other and make a big fat pile to get up into like higher areas, and you can blow the pile up, and it's just like you don't lose any frame rates as their guts go flying. There's a progression system, a lot of different cool weapons that you can level up and everything will get. It looks like a lot of fun, but it's on the Epic Games Store. And I'm like, oh no! No, do I stand by my principles and not buy anything on the Epic Games Store, or do I get it just this once? You know, it's like, fuck, dude.
Do you let it slip through?
It's like I want to stick by my principles, but it looks so fun, and I've been looking for like some co-op game to play with my friends every now and again. Oh, speaking of co-op games, I am playing Risk of Rain 2. That's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it's fun. Play it with my friends every now and again.
I've been considering getting one of those, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's on Steam, so I went ahead and got that. Yeah. So I don't have a lot on my plate right now, but whenever like a really good single player experience comes out, I usually play that to the end. But I don't have a MMO that I play or anything like that. I don't really have the time or the patience to do some of those grindy stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because there's just so much of it right now. There's just so many games that are trying to do the live service thing, and I just don't care.
Are you working on anything as far as work that you can discuss?
Well, like I said, I'm planning on doing the GMod Idiot Box 16 by way of Premiere and After Effects.
Sure.
It's a slow process getting started. Like I said, I gotta get everything together first before I can start. It's kind of it's taken a little bit because some of the stuff that I have to get is like contract stuff. They have to finish it first. Yeah.
Oh, contract stuff?
Well, you know, it's all like, hey, can I have you make this and I'll fucking pay you for it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm not making them like sign contracts like you will not da. It's like I'm not that professional. I'm just some dumbass who makes silly animations.
So do you know people who make like custom models for Garry's Mod?
Well, sure. I've known a few for a while now. They're not like super crazy industry pros, but they're like, you know, they're up and coming people who have dabbled in modeling and got better and better over the years.
Because I've been trying to look into getting one myself, but I don't know where to even start.
Well, a lot of them came to me. Like while I was still doing this regular, they had come to me and offered, like, you know, I would love to, you know, make some stuff for you because I've watched your stuff for a while. And so they just kind of came to me on that. I didn't like, you know, run around looking at Craigslist, you know, like I need somebody to make a dope video, you know. So
does anybody know how to make source engine stuff?
I need to make a model that also has a Shrek face on it, you know.
Just to do a redo of that was it Shrek is Love video?
Oh Jesus.
Like that might be my favorite. Like, just I love seeing new people's reaction to that.
That one can stay unremade. I think it stands on its own.
It's an instant classic. Especially the Garry's mod version. It's just
You know it's gonna get weird when it's in Garry's mod.
oh yeah, but like I mentioned with the fake you, it has a certain charm that other outlets of for Machinima don't have.
I remember seeing a tweet that my friend sent me. They were drawing a distinction between Overwatch and TF2 parody. Like, Overwatch parody. The noob doesn't push the cart and his team gets mad and joke about how edgy Reaper is. TF2 parody. Spy vomits up a watermelon, the heavy turns into a bike, and everybody drives and explodes and kills everyone. it's like it's such a stark difference, and we owe it all to the absurd possibilities of Garry's mod.
And that the entire fight in TF2 is over gravel.
Yeah.
But when I first heard that, I thought the buddy who told me was full of it.
Oh yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, they're just fighting over like gravel land. I'm like, yeah, no.
Gravel land? Is that what he said?
Yeah. It's like they're fighting over like a gravel company.
It's like, yeah, yeah, it's funny because they're fighting over gravel, and I like the map Fort. It's great.
It's Das Fort.
Yep.
But let's see. With that, I think we're closing in on hour and a half, and I think I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
Same question I ask everybody in every interview. Would you consider coming back on, being a return guest?
Yeah. I mean, if you have anything else you want to ask, I don't normally, get the chance to sit down and just kind of shoot the shit for this long, but I actually was able to finish work early today, so it's like, yeah, shit, I got some free time.
Yeah, shooting the shit is the unspoken motto of this show.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to do it very regularly at all, but if you have like a big old collection of questions, I'd be happy to stop in and answer them and stuff, because I figures like if I'm gonna break several years silence, I might as well do it one way or the other, but without having to make without doing like an upload on my own channel, because like I've kind of made a promise to myself, no more stupid fucking update videos or a review or a let's play. The next upload on my channel has to be what people actually come to my channel for. It's got to be an Idiot Box, nothing else.
War of Mine videos. This War of Mine let's play.
Yeah, exactly. Do another one. But
you gotta start all over again.
Yeah, exactly. No, I can't do that to the subscribers. I have been stalling with a bunch of stupid update videos, and nobody wants to hear them anymore. They've heard all the excuses. The same excuses apply. It's just the stir crazy factor. But I'm gonna try with a bit of a learning experience. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, it's it's good to hear, especially from you, that you're still at least trying.
Yeah, I mean, like I never got tired of doing it. It was just an unfortunate scenario where my workspace became the same as the space I used to animate, and then it became a problem. So that's easily the biggest part of it. And then I just don't touch social media, because social media is fucking disease. So
yeah, it's a poison to certain degrees. Yeah. But like I treat this as a sort of a job. It's like, oh, I'm at work, but then I want to go home and do the job I actually want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it was for me when I was working my security thing. So like, yeah, that job I want to do, and then I did it I did my own channel full time for about a year. That was difficult. Jeez, that was hard.
Thank you very much for stopping by.
Yeah.
I very much appreciate it. Thank you for getting back to me on Twitter and clearing this whole weird imposter BS up. Thank you for those of you at home watching this, and being patient because it's been a little bit since one of these came out. I think actually one came out today, but it took like a week or so to like edit because I was just busy.
Yeah.
But thank you again for both you, DasBoSchitt, and thank you guys at home for watching this. Thank you for stopping by. This has been Demasked. I'm Frezzman, joined by DasBoSchitt today, and I'll see you next time.
See ya.